Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, September 11th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Monday, everyone. Before we get to the charts here, we do begin Masters live sessions today for our PivotBoss Masters members. If you go to pivotboss.com/events here, you can click on the Masters live sessions here to get the week's calendar of events. You can see right here a 5-day live sessions here. We're going back to the thrust reversal signal, which we introduced last month. This was a fantastic signal, so good we had to do it again. And so we're going to work off of the thrust reversal signal, and we're also introducing squat paint bars. That's going to be an awesome addition to how we view and find trades here. So that's going to be what we'll be focusing on here throughout the week. Look at the schedule here. You can see various times that we're going to engage those sessions. If you're not a member, you can click here for a great deal, but also if you are a member, click on your Masters dashboard and you'll be given the link there to jump into the sessions later today. So looking forward to our Masters live sessions here later this afternoon. All right, let's take a look here at the daily time frame of the ES. You can see here, huge gap up from Friday's close to Sunday night's after hours reopen. You see here heading into the RTH Open, we are basically at the highs of the overnight trade and pre-market trade. We are approaching the 45.50 level, very important near-term level here, which has provided resistance since the beginning of August. We have a bit of a compression here as this thing has built some energy, and again, this is going to be an important zone to watch here for these markets as we are basically testing the previous week's high. This is the previous week's high right here. We're above it at the moment, and if we come into this zone and find resistance early this week, we could be right back down within the previous week's range. Now, we do have some big time numbers coming out later this week. Inflation data on Wednesday. Inflation data is going to be the big number to watch on Wednesday. On Thursday, we also have PPI, core retail sales, initial jobless claims, and then Friday we have some lesser reports, but for the most part, inflation data is going to be the big one here later this week. Next week, we get another FOMC key level. The last time we got one was July 26th here, and so far it has been offered. Price going here with a higher low. Do we come into that level from below for another retest? 45.83 may be ahead if price can push through the 45.50s here up ahead. So keeping an eye on the previous week's high for early directional conviction this week. Any failure there, and if you start to fade into the gap here, we could be looking at a gap fill ahead. So going to be an important level here to watch early this week. We take a look here at the NQ. Similar price action, big gap up, currently above the previous week's high, which is this level here, approaching the high for the month at the moment. Higher lows, higher highs. The July FOMC key level, we are now above it at the moment. After taking it offered here, we have jumped back to that level. And again, this zone right here, very important, because any acceptance through it, you start to push through to 16K up ahead very quickly. We've had a pullback here overall within the uptrending market. So if you look here from the beginning of the year, the NQ has been trending up like this, and currently we've seen kind of a break and a pullback and starting to show some more strength here. Is this the positive portion of the move coming up, where we're about to see the next flow higher? If that's the case, then we could push well through 16K and start working higher toward the previous year's high. That'll be just past the 16.5 level. So we could be looking at quite a bit of strength ahead if this can materialize into a full-on breakout. All right, let's take a look here at crude oil. Right now, crude down about 0.5%, but is still within a very narrow range overall. You can see how narrow this range has become at these highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Last week's Tuesday session here set the range up and down. Prices closed within that range throughout the week. We're now starting within that range with a very bullish up move that has occurred. We're also through the 84 market structure edge and the most recent 85 highs. So any pullback into that zone could still be defended for a continuation higher as this market looks to push perhaps into the 90 level and up to that 94 market structure edge. Right now, with a 5-day developing narrow range, we can quantify it right here, and for the most part compressed at a 55% of average range. Average range would be about 5.4 points, and if we look for a high range breakout, it could be somewhere around 6.7 points right now, so somewhere in that zone. So if we're looking at a breakout ahead, say we drop hard here into 85s and find a strong low off of 85, we can go 85 plus 6 to 7 points, and that'll take you to about 91, 92 by itself. So again, where does that strong pivot low come in at, and off of that pivot low can we then forecast higher the next move ahead? I think that's going to be the way to go, especially with a rising bullish Pima trigger zone here in crude oil. All right, let's take a look here at gold futures. Gold right now still on a path lower, but currently range bound within a 4-day narrow range. 4-day narrow range with a downward bias. When that's the case, bears will look to defend the top end of the range for failures and for a continuation in the direction of the trend. Right now, a 4-day developing narrow range, obviously today not complete by any means, but a 4-day narrow range at the moment developing 41% of average, and we could be looking at a move somewhere between 34 points, which would be average, and about 43 points, which would be the high end of average. So just call it a 40-point move ahead. 40 points could be an easy amount of points ahead. And say we were to fail here at 1960 and drop, 1960 minus 40 gives you a 1920 target. That's right in line with recent support. So where's that high come in to play? If today's the high, maybe we can forecast lower off the high of 54.60, and you're looking down at about 15 points there, 1915. So overall, still trending downward, but still in the range as well. And in this range, we can continue to see some chop back and forth until we see a true breakout from gold. Lastly here, looking at the YM. Right now, the YM with a gap up as well. Currently, also above the previous week's high. That's going to be an important level to watch. This is where it all breaks down here for all of these markets, the ES, the NQ, the YM. If it fails, if these fail here at this previous high, you're backfilling into the previous week's close price, and you're kind of staying inside the range as we await CPI data later this week, PPI data later this week, and also Fed in the week to come. So again, we could continue to remain range bound. The previous week's high is going to be important here for the equity futures. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops here heading into the new week of trading. Again, if you're a PivotBoss Masters member, we start live sessions later today for our 5-day live sessions of training and trading. It's going to be fun. Please be sure to join here at the Masters Dashboard. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the trading room.